Tony Hazlett.
That's good.
Ready?
Yep.
I'm Lieutenant Tony Hazlett with Charleston Police Department. I'm the Investigative Services Bureau Chief. Last night around 10:45 p.m., the Charleston Police Department responded to a shooting in the area of the 1300 Renaissance Circle complex. The shooting happened outside the complex. Once officers arrived, they found a victim, Dennis Butler, 37 years old, of Charleston, with multiple gunshot wounds. Upon further investigation, we quickly learned that the victim kind of turned into like a gunman. So basically what happened was the victim was up in the complex earlier, and he was approached about speeding while there was a birthday party, graduation party going on. And the graduation party was actually, there's a grassy area right here. This is the 1300 complex. The party was right in this area right here. And this is the drive through to the other complexes. So he was approached and asked about speeding here. He got mad and then left the complex. Shortly after, he drove back and pulled up in front of the 1300 Renaissance. He got in the back seat and pulled an AR-style rifle and started firing into the crowd. A bystander that was at the graduation birthday party, which is a female, pulled her pistol and fired at the gunman, killing him. No one else was injured in the party. The only one was injured was the gunman himself.
It seems like it really escalated quickly from just someone approaching him about speeding to then him pulling an AR-15 on this party. I mean, is there any other motive that we know behind this?
Not that we know of. We've talked to several witnesses. They gave the same story, that they approached him about speeding. There was a party, graduation, birthday. He then quickly left the complex. They didn't think anything about it. He pulled back in, got in the back seat and started firing. A female bystander who was lawfully carrying her firearm pulled her firearm and shot it and killed him.
And no charges are being filed against her, correct?
No charges being filed. The case will be turned over to the Kanawha County Prosecutor's Office for review.
Do we know how long from when he initially left or was approached about, speeding, how quickly he returned?
It was like a matter of like 30 minutes. He quickly returned. They didn't think anything of it when he returned until they saw the pistol being fired. Then she quickly got in position, pulled her firearm, and fired and killed him.
Is she a member of law enforcement by any chance?
No, she's just a member of the community who was carrying her firearm lawfully, and instead of running from the threat, she engaged with the threat and saved several lives last night.
Absolutely, yeah. She should be credited as a hero. Now, do we know, just by off chance, how many maybe bullets or rounds were?
I'm not going to go into how many. There were several rounds fired. Like I said in the release, he had multiple gunshot wounds. She quickly engaged him and returned fire until he, stopped the threat. But I'm not going to go into how many rounds were fired. The main thing here is she was lawfully carrying her firearm and stopped the threat. There was a graduation party and a party with kids. So obviously somebody just graduated high school and then another birthday party. We could have had a casualty shooting there.
How many people were at that party event? How many people live did you?
I don't know exactly how many, but I know there were several, probably in the 30, 40 range. And again, I credit her for being vigilant, watching him get out, engaging the threat, and stopping it.
Does this person have any previous records?
The
victim?
victim of the shooting, the gunman, he did have a prior criminal history. The person that engaged, none, just, lawful citizen.
Do we know? Are you able to tell us what his previous criminal history was?
I don't want to go into that right now, but he has extensive criminal history.
Was it anything vicious,
I'll just say extensive.
Okay.
Do we know where this gun came from? Do we know any of that?
No, that's
yet?
still early in the
Okay.
investigation.
Okay.
We just finished. This happened at 10:45 p.m. last night. We still process the scene through the early morning hours. We're going back up in daylight to process the scene, and so it's still early on that.
And so just to be clear, was he shooting, sorry, I'm looking at the picture, but was he shooting out of his car in that area, or did he get out and approach?
No, so he pulled over here by the 1300.
Okay.
the gun was in the backseat of his vehicle.
Okay,
So he got out, got in the back seat, and started firing. This would be the 1311 out of view. He started firing toward this grassy area here where the party was.
and that woman was then able to shoot into the car?
Yeah,
Wow.
shoot at him. But
Ju-
but he was shooting. He was shooting this way, towards the 1311.
Were there any other firearms in the car?
Not that I know of. No.
Just again, kind of reiterate how really like it's a miracle that nobody else was injured in this.
Yes, I mean, like I said, he pulled it. He pulled the firearm, and started firing. I mean, there's 30 or 40, 50 people here. I don't know exactly where her position was, but obviously she was in a position to see what he did, engage him, and take out the threat immediately, without any of these kids, adults getting harmed.
Was there any, was the building that you said it was 1311, was it hit or any other vehicles hit?
I don't know if any other vehicles were hit. Like I said, we're going back up early this morning, kind of canvass the area, make sure we didn't miss anything in the nighttime hours.
Can you speak on just kind of the timeliness of this? I mean, obviously 2 days ago there was a tragic event that everybody is still currently talking about, and now something like this happens. So just talk about.
Well, the Texas shooting was tragic. I mean, it was. We all have kids we drop off every morning to school, hoping to see them in the afternoon. But, I quickly removed myself from social media during the past couple of days because of different beliefs. I will say on the Charleston, West Virginia case, Charleston Police Department case, this lady was carrying a lawful firearm, okay, a law-abiding citizen who stopped the threat of probably 20 to 30 people getting killed. She engaged the threat and stopped it. She didn't run from the threat, she engaged it, preventing a mass casualty here in Charleston.
Does she have like a background maybe of like military or anything?
I'm not going to go into that. I mean, I don't want to go into much about her. Imagine her, she saved several lives, but she's completely shaken up. So,
Would you recommend people who are lawful carrying to engage threats if they see them immediately, or should they more likely try to save themselves?
well, I mean, you have a right to save yourself in several. I mean, she did the right thing. I don't know if any other person would have done that. I mean, this guy's engaging with a AR15 style rifle. She engaged the threat here and took him out. She didn't run. I mean, there's probably several people that scattered. She didn't run. She engaged the threat and saved lives.
Is there anything else that you think is important that we know?
Can you tell us where he lived?
Not at this time. He just lived in the Charleston area.
In Charleston or area?
In Charleston.
Do we know if he had any like mental illness?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Did he say anything to, I know like you mentioned he was approached earlier, just like, hey, you're speeding, whatever. Did he say anything to those people before he left?
I don't want to go much in the investigation, but he was agitated at the time, and he sped off. But they didn't think anything of it, If you go in this complex on a warm day, there's several people out and about. There's picnic areas over here. They were having their party here. They didn't think anything of it until we returned.
Was there children at that party?
Oh, yes.
Even at 10:45 at night, it was still
Yeah,
pretty active.
I'm calling children high school age.
Okay.
Children.
Yeah.
There was children. There was a graduation party. I don't know what time it started, but they were a party, have a great time, and then that happened.
Do you know if he legally bought that gun?
I have no idea at this time. It's still early in the investigation. Like I said, this happened, less than 9 to 10 hours ago, and we're still got a lot to process.
Do you have any words for people who are concerned about coming out now in that general area that might be afraid that other people might have guns or might start?
No, I
shooting?
mean, we haven't had a shooting here in a while. I would say that, relatively it's a safe area. But, I shouldn't be any concerned. Like I said, if you see anything in this area, feel free to call. There's no charge for calling 911. That's what we're here to do. We're here to respond to calls and take calls. I'd rather be a false call than a real call. If you think you see a gun or something, call. We'll respond. But no, there's no threat to the community at this time.
Do you know if the people
I would say that that group was targeted, yes. I mean, those are the people that confronted him about speeding. I mean, you know, you have kids out in this area playing, and then he's speeding up and down the road. So yeah, I'd say this was a targeted group. Thank y'all.
That's the one thing that bothers me. When I started hearing meetings like that, getting paid,
That woman is a badass.